Hey everybody, welcome back to Fantasy Theory. So today we're going to break down, theorize, go over Easter eggs, and just have fun on the new X-Men 97 episode 7, titled Bright Eyes. Before we start, leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. There's only about 3 more episodes left. Tolerance is Extinction, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. So we're almost done with the series, but I do believe that there will be a Season 2 and even possibly a Season 3. This show has been great to watch so far, but let's get right into the video. It opens on the funeral for Gambit, and it's very emotional. The priest, the minister, is Nightcrawler, which makes sense after the attack on Genosha. Well, before the attack on Genosha, it's established that he's kind of the minister leader there. Cyclops, Beast, Wolverine, and Morph all carry the casket under the pallbearers, while Jean Grey has her hair down to the left, as well as Roberto and Jubilee on the right, mourning the loss of Gambit. Gambit's brother Bobby LeBeau and ex-fiancée Belladonna and Pierre are all there, and they've actually appeared in the show before in Season 2, Episode 6. Also there is Aurora, and Nightcrawler gives a great service, often referencing poker and cards, which obviously fits Gambit and his personality, even saying modesty was Gambit's bluff, ending with a tear in his eye. Over to the person who did not attend, Rogue. We see her on a mission in grief. She goes to Fort Ballard and makes quick work of the military officers that are guarding it. We even hear a soldier say, "What's going on, man?" which is pretty funny. And we see her signature kick, which is directly from some fighting games, like, for example, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Inside the fort is General Ross, the same General Ross we see in Hulk and the Avengers, and he's a 4-star general judging by his collar. He even references that this place that they are in is meant to keep the Hulk out, showing that there is beef with him in other universes. The reference General Ross makes is great because it shows the times we are in, because back then, during the show, Hulk was not allowed to appear or be mentioned in the show, and there actually was one episode where they did get away with it by calling him a large green robot, so it shows that Hulk was around during the X-Men time, and with the rumors about X-Men versus the Avengers, I don't think it's a coincidence that they're adding him. They've, put Captain America in this episode. I think it's leading to something. With all that being said, Rogue breaks through the top easily, and the top we see is this circular thing, which is kind of similar to the cell we see holding Abomination and She-Hulk. Rogue then makes quick work and threatens General Ross for the location of Bolivar Trask. Meanwhile, Cyclops is speaking to a hologram of President Robert Kelly, who, by the way, his first act of president was to pardon Beast, so he's a little bit of a ally to the mutants, but he's also, kind of in the middle there, judging by how their interaction goes with Cyclops. Scott asks him about Val Cooper and where she is, and if you don't know, she was in the episode before the attack. She was the blonde girl that people were actually theorizing was evil, so maybe that's kind of proving it. Scott and Jean meet, where we see Jean's hair is down. Now I wonder if she's doing that because she wants Scott to almost think of Madeline as her and kind of love her the same way, or it's quite possible they switch places again. I don't really know. Cyclops and the president are not on the same page after the attack, and Cyclops says to Jean as they look on a news network broadcasting the remains of the fight, "Let's go remind the world that times like these is when dreaming matters most." Over to Genosha, we see the destruction left there, and some mutants making the appearance here are Barbarous, Blob, Multiple Man, and his duplicates, Angel, Salvador, Longstripe, and Slick, and of course the Parrot Girl. Beast and Amelia Vaught, who is part of the Acolytes, and I sense a little bit of romance between the two for just right now. She's even a part of the medical effort, who we even see her take care of people like Nature Girl. There's just so many mutants that we can pick point here that are just injured or just trying to help out with the cause, and it's a lot of effort that went into this to kind of put all these Easter eggs in there. It's pretty good. Here's where we get the teaser we saw a few weeks back, where Rogue lands in a snowy biome, and we see a motorcycle with the license plate AVN-810, which refers to the comic Avengers Annual Run number 10, which is Rogue's literal first appearance in comics. So that's a cool little Easter egg, especially for Rogue fans. And then Captain America's shield lands right at her feet with some battle marks on it. Could be from Wolverine, could be from Black Panther, could be just from battle. And Captain America appears. He says, "Stand down, Rogue, please." He is voiced by Josh Keaton, and we have seen him in Red Dawn and Old Soldiers in previous X-Men episodes, so this isn't the first time we've seen him in this, but this is the first time we've seen him in the modern era of the X-Men. Cap uses a radio to unveil a secret basement-like lair that he brings Rogue into, kind of similar to the room Steve and Natasha go into in The Winter Soldier when they are on the run. OZT is seen on the monitors, which means Operation Zero Tolerance, and is, of course, what the whole season has been leading to. Tolerance is Extinction, the 3-part finale that starts next episode. Cap and Rogue talks, and then Cap says he must do this by the book because he has a code, and Rogue's level of pettiness, she says,
"You won't be needing this."
And of course, throws the shield far, far away. We go back to Genosha, and that's all we will see of Cap for this episode. I don't know if we'll see him in the remaining of the season, or if that was just a one and done. Again, I think they're leading to something with Avengers vs. X-Men. Another mutant we see, Strong Guy, scaring Roberto. And Jubilee and Roberto discuss Roberto telling his mom that he is in fact a mutant before it's too late, and she finds out he's a mutant on like the 5 o'clock news from another attack. We see the memorial and confirming that Leech and Callisto are dead, and that it was even confirmed by showrunner DeMeo. Beast quotes MLK saying, "Riots are the language of the unheard," and then right after he gets mad and says they shouldn't have even begged for tolerance. Back to Rogue's mission, she goes to a mansion with armed guards, and she makes quick work finding Gyrich and absorbing his energy to the point where she sees Bastion and Nimrod, and then she blacks out, woken up by Nightcrawler. Jean has visions of Dazzler's final moments, Sebastian Shaw's final moments, and Emma Frost's final moments, as well as Squid Boy's. We get a shot of Jean in front of broken glass where we see multiple versions of her. Perhaps like this is kind of referring to Madeline being another version of her, or that there's like a multiverse out there. Emma Frost is found right after and is saved by the mutants, and even goes into her diamond kind of phase. Scott tears up a bit after finding her, with Jean wiping away his tears when Morph calls them back to the ship. Jubilee and Roberto go to his mother, and Roberto wastes no time, not even listening to Jubilee because she says, we'll start with a little bit of small talk and then get into it. But he wastes no time and straight up tells his mother that he is a mutant when she pours an entire glass of wine and chugs it so easily, but saying that she knew this whole time and that she accepts it. However, she says they must keep this on the down low because of shareholders not being okay with her having a mutant son. So she kind of has us in the first half and then kind of does a little bit of a heel turn. The other X-Men find Rogue to comfort her, and we even see Rogue get embraced by Nightcrawler where they share a hug, and we get the first kind of small reveal of Bastion, who kills Gyrich by suffocating him. The X-Men go to Bagapur, where we've even seen this place in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. There's a lot of signs we see of different corporations, and we even see things like Justin Hammer's sign. Morph gets a soda from the vending machine, which is called Diet Pingo, which of course is the same place Bruce Banner worked at in The Incredible Hulk. And the X-Men stumble upon a Prime Sentinels, well, more than a Prime Sentinel, a few Prime Sentinels, which Beast says is light years ahead of their time. We see Bolivar Trask on the verge of suicide, like about to jump off the building, and Morph hilariously calls him a poor man's Oppenheimer. Rogue saves Bolivar from jumping off the building, but very quickly instead drops him on purpose, killing him, and Wolverine seems to be the only one to support her decision, saying we all wanted to do it. And of course, out of nowhere, the building explodes and it reveals Bolivar Trask is now kind of like a human sentinel. The X-Men go up against him, and we even see things like Morph turning into Quicksilver briefly before getting beaten, and he makes quick work of everybody. Trask beats them all easily until Scott is about to get killed, and then is saved by none other than his son, Cable. Jean Grey, telepathy, realizes Cable is who Cable is when Cable says, "Get out of my head, you're not her," referring to Madeline being his real mother, which is kind of a real bad shot at Jean Grey. She's already, suffering from like not being the right woman for so long, and now it gets this. But, I kind of see where Cable coming from. He wants, his mother. He says Sinister is working for someone much worse. And then we get to Sinister and the reveal of Bastion. Now, a little bit about Bastion. It's cool from showrunner Bill DeMeo. He confirmed that Bastion has been in the show this whole time, besides for episode 3 and episode 6, but there were some things where he was referenced or had a small weird cameo, like in the beginning of the episode. We'll go through it. Episode 1, we see in a vision a kid coloring. That was Bastion as a kid. Episode 2, we see him sitting with the world leaders of the UN. Episode 4, he is in that picture with Forge in Forge's house. And episode 5, we see his head before the attack. And we also kind of see Magneto looking at it as well. So he's been lingering this whole time in the show. Bastion reveals that the X-Men have been lying to the world and that Charles is alive, which will go right into another character still being alive, and that of course being Charles's best friend, Magneto, who's being held hostage by Bastion with one of those mutant dampening collars. We see him shaving Magneto's face with, of course, a metal blade, which, with Magneto's powers he could easily take out, but with the mutant dampening collar he can't do anything about this. And purple people eaters play in the background, which has kind of been a theme for this episode with Bastion. And that's how the episode ends. So a lot that we kind of talked about, it's going right into Tolerance's extinction. I think it's going to be a huge finale, obviously, with 3 episodes. How it's going to play out, Charles is going to come back, Storm is going to come back. Will we see Gambit kind of being revived, or is he done for at least this season? Magneto being held hostage, what will Charles do? What will the X-Men do? There's a lot really to theorize, and, we'll get these answers within the next couple weeks, but pretty cool episode, kind of revealing a lot. This season has been absolutely great. We theorized that Bastion was kind of part of this. We also theorized a lot of people were part of this, not just Mr. Sinister and Bastion and Bolivar Trask. We thought Apocalypse, Cassandra Nova. Some of it was right. Maybe they're saving those guys for a season 2 and season 3. But you let me know what you thought of the episode. You let me know what you're theorizing for the last 3 episodes, what you think will happen. Leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and have an incredible day.